Thank you. So a little bit about East Bay. Even though we're kind of right in between, we have Berkeley on top, Stanford in the south, San Francisco, on the left-hand side, but we are kind of unique in ourselves. Couple of things I'd like to point out is that pie chart. I do hate pie charts, but there's still one out there. I did not make these graphics, so that's why. We are a large, we are considered one of the most diverse campuses on mainland US. So, we have people from all over all different kinds of people, but we have a large underrepresented minority population, so 44%. The other thing I'd like to point out, which may be hard to read out here, is this tallest bar chart. These are our transfer students. 60% students at East Bay campus are from community college transfers. So that's like our biggest population that we are catering to. This is across the campus, but it's also true for our statistics department. Most of our students are local. On the right-hand side, the bar chart is for the counties the students come from. Alameda County is the county where the campus is located. Contra Costa is our next door county, so we are serving kind of people around us. We offer a whole lot of stuff, is how I want to put it. So we have a bachelor's program, we have minors, and we have a substantial master's program on campus. I'm not going to talk anything about our master's program. I'm going to talk about our data science concentration, and I'm going to talk about our data science minor. Okay, so when we started creating our curriculum, kind of what maybe Hunter will pick up, we transferred from quarter to semesters in fall of 2018. So that was the time when we had the incentive to make a lot of changes. One of the things we were focused on is how can we get more students to do data science? Unlike Berkeley, where you have thousands of kids taking data 8, most of our kids coming into campus have no idea what data science is. If they knew what data science was, our job was really easy, right? So how can we get these students to get interested in data science? And what's the path for them, like courses that they are taking to get into data science? So that was one of the things that we were thinking about. And then since most of our students in the data science concentration are from transfer students and our URM, there was something that we needed to think about what kind of support these students needed to be successful to become data scientists. There is a huge demand, in the last panel you heard that where we are in the Bay Area, there's a lot of people who would like to hire data scientists, but somehow we are not producing enough. And one of the things we realized that's a big topic on our campus in my department is how much calculus do these students really need to see for them to get this data science degree? And on our campus, Calc 2 is kind of the roadblock, right? So maybe people get through Calc 1, but they get to Calc 2 and it's like a deficit mindset. I cannot do this. And that's where we see this huge drop of students, and we hardly have any people or population to like choose from to get them to become data scientists. So one of the things we want to do is rebrand calculus. It's almost like repackaging something, but to repackage it so that it meets the need of what an undergrad data science degree or undergrad data science student would need. So you get all the concepts, but you get a light version of it. It's more computational, less theory. And so we also want to think about these pathways, and that's why we work with the community colleges. Kind of high school is the next, because we currently have students coming out of high schools. So in the Bay Area, there are high schools which offer a data science course. It can be a math course that students take. And when these students have taken this data science course and come into university, where is their STEM pathway? Like, what are we offering them? So that was something we want to keep in mind. We also noticed that if students come with no computational skills, they have no idea even how to make a for loop or what's the if loop and things like that. So having that basic computational, like in the panel you heard before, is that we actually do have prerequisites for data aid because our students are not prepared to just jump into something like data aid. And then transition between software. Our program is R heavy, though we do teach Python. But it's kind of trying to gauge what students need to get that job. Like, do they need to have just Python? How much Python? What are those catchphrases that employers are looking on their resume so that they're going to get a job after they get the degree? This is what the data science concentration looked like. I should remind you, I am in a statistics department, so it's a kind of a traditional stats focused advanced core. Our data science elective is kind of where you get the flavor for data science. We are not that big where we can kind of separate everything out. So the introductory core, I kind of break it down where, they take a couple of programming classes. Calc 1 right now is what they take. This is our goal, and I'll talk about it, that we want to change that. And the intro to data science class is the data aid that students would take. Our advanced core is very kind of traditional. What you would see, you have a probability class, statistical inference, ANOVA regression. We have a Python course. We used to have a SAS course. We also have a biostats degree, so you can see some SAS. You can take electives, you can take Bayesian, you can take non-parametric and so on. And the 3 courses that they have to take for their data science elective is the R course. We actually do have a data visualization. I teach it in fall. I love teaching that course. I teach it with Tableau and ggplot. And then we have a statistical learning course. That's our machine learning course. The CS department wouldn't let us call it machine learning, so it's called statistical learning. May sound familiar to some of you, the challenges we have. And then we do require students to take some more CS classes. It's usually SQL, a database structure class that they take, and maybe another Python or programming class that they would like to take. This is the minor. Our minor is quite flexible because we are trying to have students from biology and public health take it. That's where we have seen the most interest. The biology department does have some genomics where they deal with large data sets. Public health has epidemiology, which we think kind of lends itself easily. So the interdisciplinary electives kind of stay in the middle, and you can see we still have the core 3 classes that I mentioned in the previous slide. And it's a total of 18 semester units. So slowly we are seeing more students being interested in a minor. Usually starts off by them hearing about data science from somebody, taking one course in data science, and then they come and say, oh, okay, it kind of sounds really interesting. What can I do with it? So it goes from there. Some of our challenges, enrollment. Everything on my campus, and I'm sure a lot of your campuses, is tied to enrollment. Like I said, we don't get people coming in saying, oh, data science, we got to do this. We have to convince them that there is a market out there. And so getting students to take, like I said, math, CAD, these are not the most friendly sounding courses to them. So that's always a challenge. I think for our campus is department buy-in. Right now, like the data aid class only counts towards a stat major or a data science major. Shouldn't be the case. Everybody on campus should be taking that course, but to get more departments to allow for that class to count, it's a work in progress. And lastly, I say manage competition. Like I mentioned, we are in an area where there is a lot of schools offering a lot of data science. So it's important to be unique and kind of have something that you provide that nobody else is to get to that enrollment problem. Okay, so future, what does the future look like? We do have a Pathways Learning Lab grant, which is going to help us get to our new degree. It's going to launch in fall 25 because it takes 18 months to get a degree elevation is what we're going from. We have a data science concentration. We are going to elevate that. We are working on creating new math courses, math for data science, kind of rebranding the math that you would require, some calculus, maybe some linear algebra, so that students can enjoy, take the math, and hopefully change their mindset about how they think about it. We are working with community colleges that's a really big focus. And that's to do with, like Denise said, she has a student who makes these social media posts, getting people from the community to come and talk about like what they do. So a simple example is the public health, the Alameda County Public Health Office, they do a lot of data science, but students don't associate a public health office with data science, but it's interesting for them to hear how much data they use in their everyday life. So simple things like that, just to get students to connect with data science in their community. And that kind of goes back to greater engagement with the community. So that's definitely something we are really focused on. Curriculum innovation. I'm really interested in learning more about introducing ethics in our data science. It's kind of challenging. We are struggling with, how ChatGPT is affecting everything that we teach, things like that. But and the last thing I talk about is growth and stability. So once we have a degree program, it's important that we sustain it, have a healthy enrollment to keep it going. Sorry, I think I went over. That was all I wanted to say. I have my email address right there. So if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm gonna pass it to Hunter.
All right, thank you very much. So my name is Hunter Glanz. I'm at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I'm in the statistics department there since 2014. And these are, I guess, the courses I've taught. So introductory statistics of Stat 1, 3 flavors, and that's not even all of our flavors. Statistical computing in R, SAS, and Python. 3 flavors of machine learning. We have a lot of machine learning going on campus. Statistical consulting, communication, and our data science capstone have been outstanding experiences. And since I got to Cal Poly in 2014, I've been kind of our statistics department advisor to our data science program, which I can't wait to share with you yet again. If you've come to this before, I guess. So it's not going to be that new. A little bit of demographics about Cal Poly. We have around 22,000 students. It's predominantly undergrad, and because I think there's probably always at least one person in the room who doesn't know, part of the structure and like creation of the CSU system was that it's only undergrad and masters, no PhD conferring in the CSU system. So this is an artifact of that, and for all of us and for the system, just to kind of put that out there, we are serving these types of students and programs, predominantly. But this is how we break down, much less diverse than many other campuses, but that's the reality. In my department, the statistics department, our major cohort size is around 45 now, which is getting to be tricky. We have to plan some courses that are co-taught and things like that a little bit differently, but it's a fun challenge. Class sizes in general, I didn't put that on here, but class sizes in general, Cal Poly are on average around 35 or 40 students. So we like to have very nice small classes. Also maybe somewhat uniquely, I'm spoiled by a very large statistics department with 20 faculty in it right now. So that's us. Our program, which started in 2014, is this cross-disciplinary studies minor in data science, which is a mouthful on purpose. It's not a minor and it's not a major. And so this is one of the worst names that probably was ever come up with in hindsight. And the people, including one who's in the room now, agree with me on this, that it's not a very good, it's not a minor. It's kind of like a degree plus. And so instead of trying to cram it all on a slide, I just put the link here. So hopefully this, yeah, it's like a page. It's awesome. Let's see if I can fit it. There we go. Which is still not good for all of your eyes. But this is the cross-disciplinary studies minor in data science at Cal Poly. The idea was that this would be kind of built for statistics or computer science majors to pursue in addition to their bachelor's in either statistics or computer science. Because there's a lot of overlap in the courses listed here and those 2 degree programs on campus. Right? Statistics and computer science majors are going to be taking many of these courses in calculus, linear algebra, probability, simulation, algorithms, all of these things already. And so for these 2 majors, there will be kind of minimal extra in order to achieve what we considered, or the authors, the creators considered to be data science at the time in 2014. We do have math majors occasionally pursue this, which is great. And every once in a while, we have a major from outside CS and math. In fact, this year we had a marine science major complete the program. And in 2019, we had a political science major complete the program, which is an outrageous amount of extra work. But it was so awesome because they're great. The students are all great. It goes so well. But it's a lot of units. So this is the program we have. This is what we've been running since 2014. And so hopefully while I've been talking, you've been soaking up the subjects listed on the screen. I also am not going to read everything on the screen right now, like so many others today. There we go. Okay. I do want to shout out that this crazy vehicle that was created a long time ago has been used a second time on campus, and this is only kind of adjacent maybe to data science, but we also have a cross-disciplinary studies minor in bioinformatics, and that this link is here too if you want to check that out. This is also a cool kind of collab between a couple departments on campus towards bioinformatics. As far as some of the logistics go, technically the kind of data prefix and this program is hosted by the statistics department, but there's been an amazing kind of collaboration and agreement between the statistics department and the computer science and software engineering department at Cal Poly to deliver and develop these courses, the curriculum, all of this stuff. And so that's how it's been kind of run since 2014. Okay, because it will be relevant in a couple of minutes, I also wanted to introduce a course that we've had on the books in my department for a very long time, called Stat 130, Introduction to Statistical Reasoning. This course has existed on our campus as probably the 5th or 6th flavor of Stat 1. In fact, I don't even like calling this class Stat 1, but it's definitely an introductory statistics type course. But the position on our campus for this course is as B4 for students who don't have a statistics course actually specified in their degree program. So we have, business majors that want to take business statistics, and we have those courses that we offer for them. We have engineers who want to take statistics for engineers, and we have that flavor of Stat 1 for them, right? So we have life, statistics for life sciences, statistics for social sciences. We have 6 flavors of Stat 1. And then there are a few programs still on campus that need to satisfy that kind of quantitative, general education requirement, and either don't want to or can't or whatever take, calc, pre-calc, something else like that. And this is a very, very nice course for them, and a lot of them pursue this or advise into this. I'm introducing this here for you all because this was a big motivation for some of our faculty in the creation of something like data for all or data for everyone, or introductory data science course that has no prereqs really besides something like high school math. And so we hope that a lot of these kinds of ideas, survey of statistical ideas and philosophy, emphasis on concepts rather than in-depth coverage of methods, and these kinds of things, the nature of data, uncertainty, variability, make it into this kind of a future version of this course. Okay. Data science dreams. They are dreams, and I should have prefaced the whole first 5 slides with this is the positive side of the presentation from me. Ayona already kind of spoiled the negative part for me, but I'll get there in a second. Our dreams are big and we've been dreaming for quite a long time. We have a bachelor's in data science completely drafted. And that's where it sits, right? That's where it sits right now. It is based heavily on the cross-disciplinary studies minor that you saw a few slides ago. So I can return to that in a couple of slides maybe if we want to. But our BS is basically based on that. I'll tell you in a slide why it's only drafted at this point. We have dreams of a master's in data science. We have dreams of a traditional minor, so not a cross-disciplinary studies beast of a minor, but a traditional minor in data science. I'd like to think that that also is mostly drafted. And then also, again, a la Stat 130 from the previous slide, a general education level course in data science as well. Right? So again, no prereqs really besides something like high school math. And this is also, in my opinion, mostly drafted as well. Okay. This is kind of what the drafting looks like so far, besides showing you all the spreadsheets and things that me and my colleagues have created. Our bachelor's looks like that CDSM on the previous slide, most of those courses, plus a few others that we're starting to kind of propose and put on paper, like an actual dedicated course in data visualization, even though that exists in many courses already. A deep learning course, graph mining, and probably whatever else we can put together between now and 2026. Yeah, so Ayona already spoiled it, but we are the last CSU campus on quarters, and we have finally been given the order to convert 2 semesters. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, so our
That
first
sounds like a tough.
yeah, it is. It's really hard. So our first semester is going to be in fall 2026, and the work on converting everything in our catalog and on campus from quarters to semesters started last summer. So summer 2022. We had to submit all of our coursework in semester version by the end of by a month ago. Or like 3 weeks ago. What this means is any dreams can't happen until 2026 at the earliest. Nothing new really can be drafted because everything's got to be converted and reviewed for 2026. So the positive spin, also, Ayona spoiled, is that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to blow it all up and do it all how we want to do it, right? Like, if we want to take on that challenge, like there are many departments on campus who are like, oh, we're just going to port it all from 4 units to 3 units on semesters and call it a day. I appreciate that our department has not done that and taken this opportunity to blow up many things and say, let's rethink our program, let's update, let's modernize, let's be creative and cool, right? And try. But it does mean that nothing cool and exciting like anything else I hear from you all every year can happen really until 2026, which is, I try not to let depress me too much. But these are our dreams. This is a very big pain point. But there's not really much to do about it. The other pain point is our faculty work that I work with, I think, maybe it's just me. I hope it's not just me, Alex. I think we work together very, very well. And we are instead impeded by the logistics of our campus structure and system. We genuinely want to produce and deliver a data science menu and program that is interdepartmental and inter-college. We have those good relationships. We want to leverage all of the expertise we have, and there just aren't existing mechanisms to offer inter-college things well and easily, I guess, at my school. So we're working on pushing administrators to create those things quickly, because they don't trust us with it, maybe, I don't know. I don't see any of them in the crowd, so I think it's okay for me to say that. It's a safe space, thank you. Anyway, so those were the dreams, that's where we are. these are the pain points mostly. And if any of you can tell me how to put pressure on administration in a nice way, that's my big interest. So I will leave it at that for me and Cal Poly. Thank you very much. Not for you, sorry.
We were there a few years back, so. Yes.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm Rosanna Overholser, and I'm a new faculty at another Cal Poly, new one last year, Cal Poly Humboldt. I'm so happy to be here. Maybe starting at the bottom. I am so excited to be here because I was a student myself in all 3 levels of higher ed in California. I started at Bakersfield College, great community college experience. I went over to the beach because the beach is so much nicer than Bakersfield. And then I continued my PhD at the beach at UCSD. And I just was so grateful for the opportunities that were given to me. I graduated with no student debt because these are all very affordable options. And my PhD, California supported us so well. And I had such great teachers. And now that I'm here teaching in the system myself, I feel so much responsibility to uphold the great tradition we have of teaching excellence and just passing on that learning opportunity to another generation, while maintaining the cheap tuition is a big weight for me. So I'm really excited to be here and to interact and engage with you all. As I said, I'm new at Cal Poly Humboldt. For the past 5 years, I've been hiding across the border in Oregon. I have to say, coming here, Oregon seems so much simpler. We've got a few universities. Universities, Oregon State and Corvallis, and then Portland State, 3 big ones, 4 regional, and then Oregon Tech is our polytechnic of the Pacific Northwest, and that's it. There's not much to worry about as far as public higher ed in Oregon, but here it's a lot more complicated. So I'm really excited for this workshop to come where we all get to interact with each other. Before I was teaching, I had about 5 years experience as a statistical consultant, which, let me tell you, is a great tool for motivating students, because instead of saying, hey, please read chapter 2 of the textbook, I can tell them a story from my experience of how somebody used data to solve a problem, roadblocks we run into, which I have then incorporated in the material. So when they reach this roadblock of, oh, there's missing data in the data set, then I can say, this is something you encounter in real life all the time. I wish people had taught me better how to deal with missing data in the data set. Or what if your data file doesn't load? You know, all of these practical problems I ran into myself, and I try to help people work through, I can use as tools for motivating my students. So that is a really a nice thing as I'm teaching the classes and thinking about how to develop them. But at the same time, this was now 5 years ago, 6 years ago for me. And I sort of am worried that my technical skills will go out of date, right? And so I want to maintain up-to-date skills so I can pass those up-to-date skills to my students. So another note of gratitude for the workshop, just to be here and interact. So that's a bit about myself. I want to share a little bit about my institution. I have to say, you guys probably know them a bit more than me, because I just came there last fall. This is a beautiful graphic made by our institutional research department. You can see here, the colorful part is the regions of where people are coming from. Does anyone know where on the map Cal Poly Humboldt is? I don't know how well known of an institution it is. Can you guys say the color of where it's located? Yeah, that green.
Emerald.
Emerald color. It's way, it took me 5 hours driving south to get here. It's way up north. Most of our students are actually from Los Angeles, so Los Angeles area. This I don't know, salmon color. It's a lot of salmon if anyone is interested, right off the coast in Humboldt, and going up the rivers. So salmon color, Los Angeles, most of our students, 25% are from Los Angeles, 17% are local. That's the emerald color. It's maybe another thing the area is infamous from. 14% from San Francisco, and then gradually, other parts of California, 1% foreign. not very many international students. Mostly female, 42% male. Most of them are full-time, 86% are full-time. Sort of evenly divided between incoming freshmen and transfer students. Let's see, we've got ethnicity. A number of other institutions put up their demographics by race. I think the surprising thing here for me was, especially coming from UC San Diego, was we have only 3% Asian. It's a very low, percentage for Asians. So most of our students are white, 50%, Hispanic is 30%. We are a Hispanic serving institution, mostly, I guess, because of those students coming from Los Angeles. So that's our demographics. Does anyone see the size of our institution? How many students do we have up there? About 6,000. Who is from a bigger institute with more students than me? Yeah, so I feel like I'm sort of at a small place, but Oregon Tech had only 3,000 students. So for my previous institution, I'm actually going to twice the size. It's a huge campus to me. I get lost all the time. But for I think a lot of you, you're used to like, 20,000 students, 15,000 students, it's 6,000. So of those, about 400 are actually master's students. Which is an exciting thing as a statistician, because master's students are out there doing research. They run into problems with their data set, getting their code to compile, and then I think there's a lot of opportunity and growth there for getting the data science students to help those master's students with their research projects. So what are people majoring at Cal Poly Humboldt? Psychology is our biggest major, biology, so maybe that's sort of expected. But here's where I started getting surprised. Third biggest one is wildlife. Environmental science, then comes business, forestry, undeclared is a popular choice, zoology, art is actually making the top 15 there, environmental resources engineering, then computer science, social work, botany, and environmental studies. So many flavors of worrying about the environment, the forest, our natural resources. I noticed when I was walking around the campus and during my campus interview last year, a lot of people love birds. People love the forest, birds. It's a really gentle place. It's so nice, so nice. To really think about trying to care for our environment and yeah, just appreciate and observe wildlife. So data science at Cal Poly, very exciting. I cannot take any credit for this. Mostly I'm standing in today for my colleague who did a lot of this work, Tammy LaRipa. She led a team to develop this from all around the university. And starting this fall, we have a bachelor's degree in data science. So it's very exciting. And even more exciting, the university, as they are transitioning from being a Humboldt State University to being Cal Poly Humboldt, they got a lot of money from the state. Thank you, California. Thank you for your tax dollars. They gave us a lot of resources to develop the content and hire 3 new faculty. So Bonnie Letka and I joined last fall, and this fall we are being joined by Bethany Johnson, who I think is on Zoom today. She wasn't able to be here in person, but she is on Zoom. We're so excited to have her come this fall. So Bonnie is an oceanographer in the engineering department. I'm in the math department with Tammy, and Bethany is joining us in the math department. So our math department is a combination of math and stats. Okay, special thing about our data science, the theme is data for good. And students get to choose 15 units in an area of application. So if they want to study data science and wildlife, data science and art, data science and environmental studies, they can choose 15 units in that other area to have an application. Okay, so with the new degree, instead of starting with the data science classes and then building up to a degree, I think we got a lot of resources. So we actually built the courses before the students came. So we have the courses ready to go, but they have not run yet. They're starting this fall with the incoming first cohort for the Bachelor of Science program. So these are the intro class based on Berkeley's world famous Data 8. Then we've got a sophomore level data wrangling and visualization. Applied data science is one I'm super excited about. It's a bunch of projects. So I'm so excited to bring my statistical consulting experience into that class and really try to design some practical experiences, exactly like I might have seen in my job, and then design projects with those. Machine learning is another one, very exciting. Senior capstone is a larger project. So this is 3 smaller projects in one semester. This is one big project. And then advanced methods, it's sort of building on to machine learning and cloud computing. And as I said, the university was very generous. We've got 3 new faculty hired. They gave us course release time to develop the content. And very exciting, they even, through Cammie's hard work, realized that not every student was going to come in with a laptop and to do data science. So they give us funds to buy laptops. So every student is guaranteed a laptop when they join the data science major. So they'll be able to do all of their computing and not have to go to the library to use a computer or something if they don't understand. Pain points, I didn't put that word on the slide, but one thing that was a little bit disappointing, I think, from the administration's point of view, I think probably they heard about the success at UC Berkeley, how there's so many data science majors, so many people taking data 8 at UC Berkeley. Our institution, Humboldt, has a decline in enrollment for the past few years. Our administration was hoping to boost enrollment. Why not start a data science program and try to boost enrollment? And we got a much lower than expected enrollment for next fall. So out of like 150 students that applied specifically for the data science major, only 12 said they would come. And that's about 7%, whereas our institution-wide yield rate is around 20%. So for example, in the math major, out of all the students that applied to the math major, 20% said they were coming. So I didn't put a p-value on it, but I don't think I need to, right? Those numbers are pretty different. So that was yeah, something to think about. So with that sort of pain point or opportunity, I like that way of phrasing it. With that opportunity of how can we increase our enrollment to keep the new faculty and the courses and use those laptops that have already been set aside for the students. How could we use those resources for maybe other majors? So use the data science courses as service courses for other majors. Maybe would our program look more attractive if we got ABET accreditation? So ABET, the engineering sort of accreditation agency, has a data science accreditation now. Should we think about pursuing that and try to be more appealing to students? I don't know. So thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Earvin Balderrama, and I'll talk to you about Fresno State. First, I didn't write too much about myself, but I spent most of my life in California. I grew up in San Francisco, and I'm a product of all of the California collegiate school systems. When I went to San Jose State as an undergrad, I took some classes at De Anza and San Jose City and Kenyatta College, and then obviously San Jose State, and then UCLA for grad school, where I spend most of my time in the beach because it's a warmer beach than in the Bay Area. And then okay, so years later, I'm back in California, working at Fresno State. And since I grew up in Northern California, spent a lot of time in Southern California, I have to tell you the truth. There were a lot of people said bad things about Fresno, the Central Valley.
Yes.
Maybe I was one of those people too. But I've never been to the Central Valley until I went to Fresno State, and I love it, and I'm there now. So it's nice. Anyway, All right, so what I do there, I'm in the math department. There's no stats department, but I do statistics. In the math department, I've taught all of the stats courses you could think of that we provide. Intro stats courses. There's a GE one for non-STEM majors. There's our intro stats for math and I guess engineering or those technical STEM majors. We have biostats for bio majors. And a lot of the courses listed below that are all upper division courses that I've taught as part of the major. Statistical programming, a lot of data visualization in there. I use R. I don't teach too much SAS in that, but linear models, that's where they learn regression, modeling, probability theory, math stats, the 2-semester sequence. I was given the 1-unit capstone kind of research seminar for the stats option students, but I kind of changed it into a statistical consulting course. So that's fun. And a machine learning or statistical machine learning, statistical learning course that I taught this past semester to the graduate level. And on the side, some students do independent studies with me in spatial statistics, Bayesian statistics, because those two are my favorite. Okay, so a little bit about Fresno State. I didn't put too much stuff here, but we are an HSI, Hispanic Serving Institution, 57% Hispanic out of the enrollment as of spring 23. One interesting thing there that I wanted to put here, it could be telling about Fresno State, is that 80% of graduates stay and work in the Central Valley. And that's what the map is supposed to show, where alumni are at. They are here or there to stay in the Valley. And I guess I didn't put it here as well. Most of the students who are at Fresno State are also from the Central Valley. So our the presence of data science at Fresno State is not as well advanced or developed like some other universities here in the panel, or even some community colleges that talked earlier. So maybe this will be quick. So currently, I guess, currently the programs that we have so far, not much. From the math department, there's no stats major, there's a math major, but there's that statistics option. So we have that. We started a stats minor a few years ago. And then what I'm going to talk about in the next later slides, an applied data science minor that we just proposed. The business school, meanwhile, has a data analytics option, a minor and a certificate as part of their business administration degree. So I put links here, I guess, in case you're able to click on them to learn more about them. I'm not going to waste too much time on it. And then there's the computer science department. Maybe they're creating a certificate or a minor in data science. We're not sure. They're very, well, I haven't gotten too much information about it. I don't know if it's been proposed or not proposed or just drafted. But anyway, I mean, currently there isn't really a big data science type of program at the present state yet. So I wanted to talk about some recent efforts made by some individuals at Fresno State to do something about it, I guess. A few years ago, DS72, an adaptation of Data 8, started to be taught at the business school. with one of my colleagues. More recently, we've been trying to develop this applied data science minor with the aim of attracting students outside of math, trying to involve more students outside of those traditional majors like math, computer science, engineering into data science. So very friendly, trying to be open to all students. And this one, there's a few pathways that students can go through. You could do it with no calculus, so that's good for a lot of students. I just wanted to put this here. We held a Data Fest, ASA Data Fest, this past semester for the first time. So just still trying to do little things here and there to attract students into the field of data science. Okay, so this is a snapshot of the course requirements that we've worked on to try to for the stats or for the data science minor, and it requires 6 courses, and the first 3 courses are kind of foundational courses. Take 1 course that's Data 8, basically the Foundations of Data Science course, or we had discussions and we included an intra-biostats course here because we also utilize R in programming in that course as well. The 1 course in the middle box, a programming course, you could choose one from that list, and 1 from the right box, a probability or stats course. And it doesn't matter what department, I suppose, from many other parts of the campus, they could take a stats course, and then they could choose any 3 electives from this list. And it just took a long time to try to find all of these courses from all corners of the campus, and talking to a lot of people. We tried to also just maybe this is interesting to see if you're interested what programming language they use in each course there as well. So a lot of Python, a lot of R. Kind of see it. I made purple for Python, red for R, and etc. Just make it a little easier. Okay, well, if you have any questions on that, we'll go later. All right, so some of the pain points, I guess people alluded to earlier, very common. It's trying to create a minor, an interdisciplinary minor that combines a lot of courses from many different departments. The buy-in is there. A lot of faculty, even administration, they like it. But it's just hard to get everyone together and on the same page, and just to collaborate and talk and get this, get things going. And then another one is low enrollment everywhere. And maybe I shouldn't be talking about that, because we do have 22,000, 25,000 students on campus, unlike Humboldt, who has 6,000, but they have a major. But just to, I guess, just to give you a picture of like how sad it is for me to see the number of incoming students entering the university as a math major, and which math option they choose to have. Most of the majors are teaching majors, and we do have a really good teaching program. But the statistics one, this is not cumulative, this is just how many in each fall that come in stating that as their major. I try to convert a lot of students to try to go our direction in stats or applied math. That's where we got a lot of students doing a lot of data science. But it's a tough place, I guess. Our vision and next steps, I don't know. Actually, I'm all ears. I'm open to suggestions. But I guess the vision is to try to grow these minors, these options, and then maybe admin will be really forced to create, help us to create a major. Maybe if we grow it enough, a lot of students are in it. Continue to talk with chairs, deans. They all love the idea of data science, but not many is actually doing something about it. A couple of things I just wrote last minute down here was that the university's trying to develop a digital badging system. And one of the things we may intend to do is to build out or to create a sequence of data science badges that students can use or be motivated by to get into data science, and also to use our first year research experience program in the College of Science and Math, where every freshman in the college must go through this first year experience program. And maybe that's one place we can recruit students to go into some form of data science pathway. And the directors of that, they're open to incorporating more data science literacy and data ethics into those into that year. Yeah, so that's one good place to start, I guess. I think that's it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we can just leave it. Yeah, just leave it.
You don't use the other mic.
This one
Yeah.
is just always on. Just always on.
That one's dead.
It's okay. I think we can be loud.
It can be loud.
Yeah. It's red.
Hello?
Yeah.
Do we have any prepared questions, or do you want to just take questions?
We can take questions if.
We'll take questions.
Yeah.
15 minutes left, I think. Questions, anyone?
Anybody else from the CSU here?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
I can otherwise, I have a couple I can ask you guys. Yeah.
So one of the things you notice is each CSU is kind of very different from each other. So I was curious, what's the current pressing issue in your department? Could be a positive or a negative. I don't know, maybe we'll start with Earvin. I know where Hunter's answer is gonna be.
Yeah, I guess it's just finding those students, low enrollment, or students don't know about data science coming in. I had a student come to me just a few weeks ago saying, I think I'm interested in data science, and gave me a reason about like, okay, jobs are good. And I asked her about what courses has she taken, and I asked her, do you know about statistics? Like, what's that? So, yeah, it's just hard. Many of the students coming in to be a math major are teaching or want to go into teaching. That's what a lot of other students are doing. So there's a disconnect. I guess we need to do a better job at marketing data science to our students even before they come into Fresno State.
Thank you. I think we pretty much have the same problem with finding students. We have a program ready to go. We have new faculty, wonderful course content. We don't have the students, and I don't know. I haven't dug into the data. I don't even know if our university has the data. Why aren't students choosing us in our program? So if anyone is doing market analyses to see where the students are, what are they looking for? Are they all going to UC Berkeley instead? Are they all just learning for free on the internet? What's
Yeah.
happening? And I don't know. That's a big question for me.
It's funny because I would say the same thing, and I started off by saying we're so different, but it's a real common problem right now in all CSUs is enrollment. And you know, on our campus, we are particularly hit. We were in the news for not the good reason. We were the 7th most hit CSUs. So yeah, because enrollment brings money, and without money, it's kind of hard to sustain. So yeah. We could take some of Hunter's students.
Yeah, I guess I don't feel starved for students. We're not at capacity, but I don't feel like it's too low or anything, but as you saw, we're not really offering a lot right now besides the big CDSM program, but enrollment in that has been pretty sustained and good. We don't really want more than 30 at a time, like per year, per cohort in that program, because of the way certain classes work and the way the logistics are. And we usually float right now between like 15 and 25. So it's a really nice number, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I have other problems. I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
The community college instructors here can market,
Mhm.
right, your programs if we had data to do that.
Mhm.
So if I knew, I assure you, they don't all go to UC. But if I knew, you know, what programs you had available, like you're doing it individually, maybe some compilation of
Mhm.
programs. And so that we go and sit in front of our data science students and say, this is what we, you know, there are a lot of opportunities here.
Yeah, I would just like feedback on that,
Yeah.
that right now, like in our creation, like we market to our students, it's about more ASTs, the transfer degrees, and I think that has to come with the relationship between your feeder schools.
Yeah.
And so I would start with that outreach to get those pathways, sort of like a tag is the best thing I can relate it to, the transfer admission guarantee, and you will start to see that funneling if the students have a guaranteed path and know that what they're taking in the community colleges will translate and mean something when they transfer. So I would, you know, recommend reaching out to them, because that's what I'm looking to do, is to reach out to my local institutions to create that pathway.
There's something, yeah.
As a product of this CSU curriculum, I would go to Fresno State.
Yeah.
The relationship with math in high schools in California
Yeah.
is bad. Like all my friends failed once, finally get through. So when we see something like Earvin, you're in the unfortunate position of being in the math department and start data science, I think almost all of the people who would be interested in that go, oh, data science is part of math, and I don't want to do math. And so therefore,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think trying to push this backward farther into the high school system where you get an introduction to that earlier, it helps improve that. But it just, you guys are all in California taking most of California students. And California doesn't have a good relationship.
That's a great point, actually. I know our math department tries really hard to kind of focus on changing mindset of students, but it's not easy. Sorry.
So with that, I did notice that all of you are from SAS or math. I wonder in other CSUs, are there other departments starting data science? Or is that pretty typical for data science to be housed in math and SAS? I mean, we don't have that on our campus. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my colleague is here from Cal Poly. I would honestly say it was in name only that ours lives in stat. It's between stat and computer science, at least at our institution.
And math
And math now, that's true. So, yeah, for my Cal Poly anyway, so, but I wouldn't be surprised by CS or business being the host at other institutions. I just don't know all of them off the top of my head.
Yeah, so like at East Bay, we actually do have analytics program at business, but it's School of Business, they are just different. So we and in College of Science, our CS department is just so impacted, they just don't have the bandwidth for data science. So it's kind of the other story. We're at the same college, but we have different problems. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from my experience, it seemed like it was an administrative decision to house it in math because it looks like math faculty are not doing much. Because they're not in service courses and like engineering, like all of their faculty are teaching major courses, they're advising majors who are majoring in engineering. Math faculty, because they teach a lot of service courses and math majors tend to be small, they don't have that huge advising load. It looked like math people have a lot of free time compared to engineering faculty or compared to wildlife or some other like program that purely exists for the major. Like math, it teaches a lot of service, like everybody takes math or stats. And so
That's not something that's what.
well, like we don't have the advising load of advising students in the major or teaching those really tough upper division courses for the major. Or making connections for the major. All of the faculty time that's used to support the major is not a big part of the math department because most of our teaching load is service courses for other departments. So we don't have the work that's specific for a major as much as other faculty. So when an administrator, I think, looking at our department, they said, oh, here's a cheap place to house data science. And it wasn't that they were thinking strategically about like the meaning of the major and where best to place it. It was, oh, somebody in the math department I can give them some release time, they'll be able to advise the students. And so it just looked like a convenient place to house it. But that's sort of good for me to hear that maybe that was off-putting the students, because like the data science program at Humboldt is actually not very math heavy at all. There's like 15 units where the students could take wildlife classes, for example, and then like all of their data science is within the wildlife classes with wildlife majors. So it's not very mathy at all. But it is housed in the math department because we have enough faculty to support a large incoming class as far as advising and supporting them. But it's, I think, just administrative.
My answer is the same as Ayona's. Computer science kind of want to do their own thing, or business, they have a lot of other business stuff to do. I think it's common that data science programs are housed in the stats department because that's where it kind of started. Stats department or math and stats department. Honestly, I think a data science program should be housed in its own thing, institute, its own college, and try to work with all other departments from there. And I answered your question.
Go ahead.
I noticed that numerous of your programs are sort of less calculus, or if you were talking about calculus-free minors. This is a topic of debate amongst my colleagues as we're thinking about a data science minor. Is how much calculus do we really need if we want to be able to get students to a statistical or machine learning like introduction? So I just want to hear your comments on that as you navigated this on your campuses.
So I will say for me, we haven't agreed yet. We are still debating. But I think for a minor, we do, it's just what the other departments want. They, like I said, public health, right? They don't want their students taking calculus. So, our goal is to have two flavors of machine learning, one which is more math heavy, one which is just, here's how you, do this, like, here's the data set, this is, how you're going to do the regression model or, whatever they're doing, and then focus on just interpretation. And I think with minors, it's fine. With the major, it's really tricky because you are thinking about if they want to go to grad school, what's the math that they've had? And the way and this is very personal, I think about it is that if they've had a good experience, I think they will be willing to take that extra math class before they apply to grad school. And my hope is we can give them that experience, because if they are not, these students have not even considered, a career in data science. So if we can get them there, they've had a good experience and they need an extra math class, hopefully they will take it. But yeah, for us, the more math we require, the fewer students we have to pull from. So it's really a hard balance.
I found it fascinating. You say cat free, but then the concept you need to cover is very much what you do in cat one. So it's not actually cat free. You're staying away from too much computation.
That's right. So we call it calculus light, or yeah.
Yeah, that CDSM that I put up there currently requires 3 or 4 quarters in calculus. Our group, I think, pretty much believes that you need to touch multivariable stuff to have the conversations that we really want to about machine learning and at a certain point. This is again for the CDSM and then what would be a major. But part of the grand blowing up of things right now at my school during this semester conversion is I think like we've heard a little bit today already, a re-envisioning of almost like a calculus for data science. So instead of traditional or historical calculus, maybe more abbreviated treatment of calculus that is more directly, relevant to data science, that isn't the full treatment and is enough for us to have those conversations that we want to have, a little bit more maybe optimization focused or those kinds of things. So yeah, and Matt's been awesome and supportive and collaborative with us in kind of creating those other flavors so far. So
I just got a question about that.
yeah.
Are you considering those more as like supplements to other classes, like you can integrating documents, or is it like a whole separate class that you're talking?
Right now, they are full separate classes. Like it would be data science majors taking a different calculus than math majors.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 2026.
CS and stat are all.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, computer science and stat majors will also switch to that new calc for data science.
It's fascinating. You're going back to semester. There is a huge movement in community college. They're pushing for 8 weeks courses. You're switching, or you're going back to quarter basis.
Wow.
What does that data science calculus look like?
What is data science
So,
calculus look like?
I know for us, it's a conversation that's going to happen very soon. We are trying to create these courses. Try to have 2 math courses, math for data science 1 and 2. I know in UCLA, they have a couple of math courses for data science, for social science majors, they do see calculus, they do see optimization, they see trig, but they are doing it with a software focus rather than theory. So I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but there are some courses out there that we hope to get inspired by. Yeah. Hopefully next year I'll have a better idea because it's got to be developed this year. So I think.
What calculus? I'm very curious. You have pioneers in a statistical education like Roxy Peck, Rossman, Chance. Who influenced the stat education the most?
Who influenced
Your stat education? Who's textbook you used in your department?
I mean, I would hope that they each use that Roxy uses hers and Alan uses his, and that, I mean,
They have influenced across the community colleges. They have influenced a lot of
oh yeah,
modernization, a lot of changes in the stat education. I'm wondering if that's the same there.
oh yeah. I mean, if I had to guess, I think ISI is the most used. So Beth and Alan and Soma and Nathan. I forgot, there's probably one more on that, but yeah, introduction to statistical investigations is probably the most used in our department, so.
Thank you. That's
We're probably out of time.
practical, yes.
Yeah, thank you.